Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for those who have subscribed. And if you are new, please subscribe. And today, like the title shows, we are going to talk about autism. And with me, I have a guest who has a baby who is on the autism spectrum. She's going to be sharing with us her story, and also we shall discuss everything autism. So I have Claire. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you, Anita.
Tell me briefly, you can introduce yourself to the viewers, who you are. Yeah.
Okay, hello viewers. My name is Claire Murungi Babali. I am a public health professional and also a mother to a child on the autism spectrum disorder. Yeah.
So, Claire, how did you find out that your child is autistic or has autism?
As a mom, you notice that your child is not achieving some milestones as they should. So, for example, even before the milestones are an issue, you notice that there's things your child is not doing. For example, a child who has autism, usually the most disturbing thing is speech. Every parent is worried that their child has delayed speech and so many other things. For example, now mine had delayed speech. He could not
At
speak.
what age was that?
He did not speak until he was in therapy for close to 3 years. So by the time we started to get concerned, was at 18 months. That's 1.5 years. He did not have speech. He was not potty trained. He could not feed himself. He preferred to play alone. He was always alone. He had no eye contact. He loved to play and rock in the chairs a lot. What people call hyperactivity. He would make sounds like ee, but there's nothing much. Yes. And then he had what we call sensory overload. Like it was very hard for him to. Autistic children have a way they react to stimuli, be it touch, be it sound, or something they eat. So for him, he had a lot of that. He could not cut his hair. Shaving his hair was a nightmare.
How about combing it?
That too. Anything that touched his body. Combing his hair meant he gets goosebumps. You could not brush his teeth. You could not cut his nails unless he's sleeping. So there's issues with that. On top of that, he did not associate with other children. He preferred to be alone. So those things ring a bell into you, like something might be wrong.
What's wrong with my child?
Yeah. So at 1.5 years, people kept saying, well, he'll speak. You also have a brother who spoke at 4 years. He's alone, so take him to
kids
daycare.
achieve their milestones
differently.
so you keep hoping.
You keep hoping. So other people would tell you to take your child to a daycare because he's an only child, and he's like what we used to say, he was the only child. So we took him to daycare for about a year. So that was like 2.5 years, but nothing. He was still in a diaper. He wasn't potty trained. He couldn't feed himself. He used to eat pureed food and all those things. None of that changed. Actually, they got worse. So we're like, no, I think something is wrong. We should seek help. So we saw a pediatrician, and our ped asked us if we were sure our child could hear.
Okay.
And to me,
was he responsive to you?
You could call him a million times and he'll pretend he's not hearing you, but he was hearing you. So eventually he would come to you. Okay, what did the ped say? So the ped asked us if we're sure our child could hear. And when he asked us, I think he hears, because when he hears his best cartoon, he'll come running. Yes, so he can hear. So he's like, no, let's first figure that out. Let's first rule that out. If he can hear, well and good. Okay. So went to do audiometry.
What is audiometric in small
hearing test?
Oh, okay.
So the first time we did it, it wasn't successful because they sedated him, but they sedated him when we were there. So somehow he didn't sleep. He kept pulling everything away. So we went home, and then the next time we had to come earlier. So they sedated him more, and he had to be asleep for him to do. So the audiometry came out and he could hear. So anyway, we go back and confirm that our child is on the spectrum, autism spectrum. So we needed to find help for him.
So Claire, after finding out that your baby has autism, what were these challenges that you would share with us that you faced?
Like any parent, it's not easy. Like you want your child to be okay and be like other children and thrive. But after you found out that this child has these neurological issues, and you need to appreciate that things are going to work different. So it's not going to be like other children. You really have to help this child to achieve their full potential. So we set out to look for therapy. Our main issue was speech therapy. So I posted like on one of the social media groups and asked if anyone knew a speech therapist. So people came out with recommendations. So one person recommended the therapy center where we took him. So, and once they recommended, I looked it up and got their contact and I called them. So when I called them, they invited us to go and have an assessment done. They do their own assessment. So I went, paid for the assessment, booked a day. So I went and found therapists waiting for us, and they assessed us. And when they assessed us, they confirmed that he's on the autism spectrum disorder, and they gave us the recommendations of speech therapy, occupational therapy, and all those things. So we went back home and prepared ourselves, because it's not cheap. Therapy in this country doesn't come easy. So you need to plan for it. So we did assessment probably in around July, and we started therapy in October, because we had functions in between. So we had to plan well and make sure he starts therapy. So when we enrolled him on therapy, and that was his school. We left him there for almost 5 years. We drop him in the morning and pick him in the evening. So he had a full day in a therapy center. He would see a speech and language therapist. He would see an occupational therapist, a special needs teacher, a music therapy, and also do aqua therapy, water therapy. So he did that for close to 5 years.
How did that progress? Were you seeing changes? Could he hear better now? How was the progress with the therapist?
The progress was there, but slow. That's why he did almost 5 years.
It takes a lot of patience.
It takes a lot of patience. It takes you as a parent to follow through with the therapy. Whatever that the therapists recommend, please do. For example, we had to stop dairy, artificial sugar, and gluten. And
is that for every child who has autism, or there are different?
Usually, most children, they stop because there's an association between what goes into your gut and autism, especially for children that are really, really what you call hyperactive. Yes. So we followed through with therapy. And also every term, say every 3 months, every quarter, you assess your goal at the beginning. Did he do well? What I can assure you is we went so many quarters with no progress.
Oh my God.
And so after those sessions, they're the most heartbreaking thing that can happen to you. I remember after the sessions would like park somewhere and first cry properly.
I can imagine.
And then after, compose yourself and drive.
Sure.
But then you ask yourself, you feel like you're not progressing, you're spending lots of money, and you want to withdraw your child. But then you ask yourself, what are the options? You understand? So you relax and like, you know what, as a parent, I'm doing my part and I'm staying on this course. So the patients really helped us achieve a lot. A child was nonverbal, a child was very hyperactive, a child could not feed himself, he had sleep disturbances, he had classical autism signs.
Okay, so you talked of this therapy being very expensive. Apart from that point, did you have any challenges in regard, like maybe society, in regard with maybe the environment, the people around you?
Other than therapy being expensive, I think that's the easier part. Okay, it's not the easier part, it's the harder part. You have to find the means.
The money.
The other challenges are many. There are so many. Stigma, you as a parent, you're struggling to accept your child.
Yeah, did you go to therapy as a parent too, or just a child?
No, I didn't go to therapy, but his therapists became my therapist.
Yeah.
So every time you talk to them, they see.
And they would counsel
Yeah,
you.
they would counsel you, they would tell you, they would show you. And then also once your child hit a milestone or did something, for example, he had failed to potty train. He was potty trained in 6 months, and that meant everything to us. So you're like, oh, at least there's something.
Yeah.
I had never seen our son hold a spoon. He actually did not know that you hold a spoon and put it in your mouth.
So he used to.
He always had toys. Yes, we used to feed him. He would have a toy. He didn't even eat a toy. You know, kids pick stuff and put in their mouth.
Yeah.
He would always have his cat toy
In the hand.
but he didn't put anything.
How about if you gave him a fruit or something?
Nothing. He would play with it.
Okay.
So when you see a child
very
hold
challenging.
a spoon and feed themselves, they can coordinate that now they need to eat. They know that the spoon picks food. Like those little steps, those little successes, what kept us going. And little by little, we got to a place of near normalcy, and he was weaned off therapy. We're still talking about challenges.
At what age was he weaned off therapy?
8.
Oh, 8 years. How old are we now?
9. So we did therapy for almost 5 years.
I know. So you are still telling me some other challenges that you faced?
There are many.
Mostly
Stigma.
I wanted to know about the stigma part and how you handled it.
Now, this is one of the biggest problems like we face as special needs parents. Mine might be autism. There's someone with cerebral palsy. There's another one who has maybe Down syndrome. We face a lot of society judgment. You understand? For example, imagine a 3-year-old in a diaper.
I know.
You know?
They're like spoiling the child.
This child wasn't raised well. Yes. You have a child and they're in a public place and they're having a meltdown. They're crying, they're exactly throwing stuff. And people are like, oh, contain your child, please. You know, they don't get it. You're at a restaurant and he's running around, he's all over the place. And other people are finding it uncomfortable, but they actually don't understand that this you get. So all those things come back to your parent, and those things cause stigma. That's why parents keep these children away.
They hide them away. You find they're not even going out.
They don't take them anywhere because
they know that discomfort is going to bring
yes,
around.
and also them, they will just not have a life. They know if I'm going to step out with this child, just know we're going to run around the entire time. You understand? And also people are not ready for people's comments.
I know.
So like, you know what? To be at peace, I'll leave my child behind. Now that stigma really, really digs deep in that people leave the children at home and don't seek help for the children.
Yeah.
And for you to achieve anything that you can achieve with this child, you need to start early. The moment you find early intervention is very key. Yeah. So those ones, even where we used to stay, I cannot forget how many times my son was locked out of people's houses because he would run up. We used to stay at an apartment block. He would run up and then apparently he would enter people's houses and spoil things. And I think people are not comfortable with him being in their houses. So I know people would hear him run up because he would make a sound when he's running up. Like up the stairs, then they would lock. That made my heart sink. But what do you do? So for me as an individual, I decided to talk about it because first of all, before I started talking about autism, I as an individual, I never saw someone talk about these things. But when I went to therapy, when we took our son to therapy, there were many children who are on the spectrum. So I'm like, well, I think we are dying with these things quietly. And also we need these people to know and understand that these people actually live among us. So the first time I really got to talk about it was, I think, 2018. I was like, you know what? Once you speak, you find
You
help
feel
for your
and you
child.
find healing, by the
You also get
way,
it
and
off your chest. So for me, I
acceptance.
threw out that stigma. I did not care. I will tell you about my child. I will explain to the people around me so that they understand who he is, because you also need them. You cannot do it alone. You need support from family, from friends, yeah, from other people. You understand? And surely every time I talked about it, I felt better. I felt like at least he's better understood. Some people understood and loved him. So, you know, you can have somewhere to take your son. And, you know, it gets better with time. But when you keep quiet about it, you are not helping yourself and you're not helping your child. And then also these things you see, like for example, you know that incident that happened.
I know,
Like,
I've been seeing
now
it on
some of
social
those
media.
people cannot make us keep quiet. We need to spread away. You need to know. You may not have had an encounter with a child who is on the spectrum, but it's a growing statistic. You get previously, like maybe the past 10 years, it was 1 in 56, 1 in 50 children. Now it's 1 in 36. So if you've not encountered, you will soon encounter these people. But how do you treat them? You understand?
How do you help them?
How do you
show
help them?
kindness? They're already
Exactly.
going through a lot.
People are very unkind.
Yeah.
But also you can't blame them. They don't know. So the more we talk about these things, the more people get to know about these things. Even when you're not sure about someone's child or how they are behaving, at least if you're keen enough to know that, well, I don't know what they're going through, instead of saying something mean, let me shut up, it will be very helpful. So you're not causing more pain to the people,
to the person already going through this.
Exactly. So because the child is different doesn't mean they don't deserve to live. So we have to advocate for these children because they're also growing up to be adults. They have to benefit from society, the society that they live in. So yeah, that's how we come to. That's why I'm here, because I can talk about it.
So I'm glad you really progressed through therapy. So how was the relationship with the siblings? Did they learn how to cope up or understand that, you know what, I have a brother or a sister, but they're going through this? How was that relationship?
Well, by then he had no siblings, is the first. Maybe the cousins. He had a few cousins who would actually understand him and hold his hand and move with him. And if they really understood him and they're always looking out for him. Even family was so helpful. My sisters, my brothers, they all came in and took it on and have been really helpful. It took me a lot, almost 5 years to get another child because I was scared. And people ask me that question a lot. Like, you're worried, what if my child also turns out like this? Yeah, but that shouldn't hold you. Like, once you've healed, you also feel like, well, you will need someone.
How is the sibling? The sibling is okay?
It's okay. Then the other cousins are okay. They love him. They understand him. They've actually helped him get out of his comfort zone. Yeah, so they're okay. They're
You've
doing
done
well. They
such
love
an
each other.
amazing job, Claire. I'm so proud of you.
It's good
And how
work.
do you manage to glow up, look good, and still keep everything in shape? Like,
Like people say, the first time I talked about it in 2018, many people didn't know about it, and I found these people were giving me these eyes of, Madam, how can you be going through all that and still be the life of the party, be the happy person back at work, like you're the one who is, I told them, what, people, it's no one's business and it's no one's fault. If I am in work, I'm in a workspace, I am in a workspace, I have to work. If I am home, I am home. I'll deal with what is at home when I'm home. But also, I think also, me as a person, I am not one person to sit and look for pity, no. But also, I am a very outgoing person. I am not one to just be there. So I needed to take care of myself and do the things that fill my cup and go back to this child, because also this child needs a mother who is okay. You need to be at your best to give the best to this child. So you don't wear your problems. No one wants to know. So you take care of yourself as you take care of other people, so that you're all in sync, and life goes on.
And life goes on.
Yeah.
So Claire, thank you so much. How do you discipline this child? How do you handle this? Like if a baby is having a meltdown, how do you discipline that?
Now, you can't discipline them when they're having a meltdown. No. A meltdown is their way of expressing themselves when they are overwhelmed. So they will cry, they'll throw things, they will scream, and they will do all kinds of, depending on how they behave when they are stressed. So you cannot discipline them when they're having a meltdown. No. But you can discipline them like, you know your child. You know when they're having a genuine meltdown, you know. Because you have to take away whatever is stressing them, identify or something. If they are not verbal, if they are verbal, you will know. They'll be like screaming something. Or so if they're having a meltdown, you can't discipline them. Actually, you have to calm yourself, take away the stressor, and give them love. Tell them it will be okay. Like, you cannot discipline them. You actually, it's not even right. You can't be disciplining someone who is stressed. You understand? But they also manipulative sometimes.
Okay.
And they know you have a soft spot for them. So when you will know, they will pretend cry, they will hurt people and come to you because they know they have shelter. So then you can discipline them. Say, for example, when they do well, we reward them. So you'll be like, oh, good boy. Maybe you give him his tab because he really loves it, or a gadget or whatever. But now when he does that, you like withdraw the reward. Exactly. So they get to understand that what they are doing is wrong. So that's one of the ways you can discipline them. But you can't find like butterfly on a wheel. They're already down, and then you can't. Yeah. Something else you asked.
I was also asking to encourage a mother out there who is going through this. What is that one thing you would tell them to encourage them? Because I know it's such a tough parenting journey. What would you encourage them? Anything you can encourage them with?
Usually, as women, they say we are selfish. We talk about mothers only, but there are fathers also who have children on the spectrum, and they are the primary caregivers. What I would encourage: one, seek help. Don't hide these kids. Help them best way you can. Someone can afford therapy, others cannot afford therapy. But you cannot blame them for not affording therapy. It is expensive. And we're going through very hard economic times. So whatever help you can seek for your child in whatever means, please do. Like, I know people that will have a speech therapist come in once in a, maybe whatever the schedule, or an occupational therapist, or both. You understand? Help this child. Have others that will bring a special needs teacher to teach their child. Like, as a parent, whatever is within your means to help your child, help your child. Also, learn to kick away the stigma. You're not responsible for how people treat you, or talk about your child, or even talk about you as a family and your parenting style. There's no problem in your parenting style as an autism parent. You understand? It's just how it is. Even us who are there, we're still figuring it out. We could have hit some milestones, yes, but there'll be days when you actually don't know. But as long as you are doing the best for your child, you really need to ignore the noise. And the other thing is, you're not alone. We are many. Like the first time I talked about it, my phone was buzzing. People called me from all corners, telling me, oh my God, your story. Can you believe? People call me. I have very many moms that call me because they've heard about me from everywhere. Even his therapy center sometimes. Like, so many mothers call me from the different places I have been. How did you manage this? Identify a support system. It can be someone who has had these children, like me. I would share whatever worked for me. Whether it works for you or not, it matters to know that someone has been through it, and this is how they went through it. Also, support, family, friends. Don't hide these things from them, because eventually they will hold you when you're down. You can't always be 100. There will be days when you're on 0, and then someone will pick you up or take some stress off your shoulders. So identify your structures. Also know your God. You know, it matters to know that there's someone. If you're Christian, Muslim, whatever, pray. Pray. Because I remember there's a time we took that boy to very many churches, like church after church, church after church. I'm Catholic, but we moved from church after church, church after church, looking for a quick fix, which we didn't get. There is no church for Balokole I didn't go to, looking for a quick fix, which didn't work. Until I was like, I have a personal relationship with my God. I'm a prayerful woman. I can talk to God, be patient, do my part as a parent. I'm not alone in this. So you're not alone. So just keep on doing what you have to do. Block the noise, the stigma, the environment, the whoever. People will say what they have to say. But you need to stay focused on the goal, on your child, and whatever you have to do.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you so much. Guys, I'm going to be sharing Claire's Instagram handle or even contact. You never know, you might need her advice. You might check her out, and she encourages you through this. And if this video has been so helpful, please share it with another mother. They would watch it and it would inspire them. Thank you, Claire.
You're welcome.
You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. Thank you, guys. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll be bringing you more of these to encourage you and inspire you. Thank you.